Hey, Jim here from 3J Music. So I was recently asked by someone I know to recommend a first guitar. And while I had a few suggestions for them, I also had suggestions of things to avoid. I'm going to talk briefly about the things to avoid before I get to the recommendations. There are a lot of guitar brands on Amazon that have popped up over the last couple of years. Great looking guitars, very tempting. There are a few notable brands of these guitars, IYV, West Creek, and I'm not saying these are necessarily bad. There's a guitar player out there right now, maybe typing in the comments, that their IYV is as good as a PRS, or their West Creek is as good as a Gibson. I even have a video on the channel where I reviewed a West Creek guitar as a Gibson Les Paul killer, and it's not. And for the people who say that the IYV is as good as a PRS or the West Creek is as good as a Gibson, it's nice that you feel that way, but you're wrong. But that's another video. The problem with these guitars is that they tend to be very hit or miss as far as quality control goes. Some of them might be decent out of the box. Some of them might require a considerable amount of work to even be playable. I would say these guitar brands that I just mentioned and others like them are probably better suited for players with a little bit of experience in their own adjustments and setups. So for the beginner or aspiring guitar player, I want to point you toward the more well-known brands that have great entry-level options. I'll start with Jackson. Some very cool retro looking designs. These 80s guitars are making a comeback even among some teenagers. These are good options in the $200 to $300 price range, where I'd like to try and keep this list. And moving on to the next recommendation is Ibanez. A similar idea, maybe somewhat retro looks, also somewhat modern looks. Also, in the $200 to $300 price range, there's quite a few options. These brands are known and respected and can be trusted. I just want to stop and say that any guitar that you get is probably going to require some sort of adjustment and setup. With these brands, I think you're a little less likely to get major flaws. The next one on this list is not really so much known for their electric guitars anymore, but they are making a comeback there. Yamaha. Yamaha's done well recently with the Rev Stars and the Pacificas. The Rev Stars are a little bit more money, so I'm going to stay away from those. But the Pacifica line is really solid. Even the entry-level models of the Pacifica tend to be respected and reliable. And it's a bit of a modern take on a Stratocaster. The final two recommendations should be no surprise. The first one being Epiphone. A lot of these Epiphones have been moving to a higher price point lately, but they still have some entry-level models reminiscent of the classics, Les Paul, SG. You can still find some in the $200 to $300 price range. And these are still pretty solid guitars, just a little more basic looking. And finally, of course, Squire guitars. All the classic models and looks. Squire, like Epiphone, have moved some of their models to a higher price point lately, and they're worth it, but they still have models in that $200 to $300 price range. The Affinity series is excellent. I've had several of those, and they were all good. The Bullet and the New Sonic series are just a step below price-wise. Still quality, still solid. This is what you want out of a first guitar. This is obviously the number one recommendation on this list. Somebody picking up a guitar for the first time is going to enjoy it more. if they don't have to work so hard to play it. Even if it looks great, it's just going to end up in a closet somewhere in a few months. So maybe don't take a chance with the cheaper, fancier option. There's a reason why these brands have been around for many years, and some of the brands, or brands like them at the beginning of the video, disappear after 6 months. So think of this when you're shopping this holiday season or beyond, for yourself or someone else. So thanks for watching, and go shopping.